Okay. Well, to say that I'm chuffed and very proud to do this tonight is an understatement. I'm almost emotional about it. That's my granddad, Barney Murphy, and he fought in the Four Courts, and none of us ever knew him. He died when my mammy was 10, but we're all been very proud of him all our lives. And I'm looking around the room, and I know by the cut he is that most of you are relatives. You're not related to the cloth of the judges and the barristers. And I'm very proud that that's the fact, and I'd love to get around to talk to you all about your experience and your memories and your parents' memories and your grandparents' memories of what 1916 meant to you. But I think it's really interesting that the Law Society has promoted this exhibition. It's a work of art. And I'm going to talk a little bit later about the connection between art and revolution. But I think it's also interesting that the Law Society, which does create the barristers and the judges and the great wise and men, women and men who uphold the law, are hosting something which was all about breaking the law. Not even just about breaking the law, it was about smashing an empire. That's what they were out there fighting, was the biggest empire in the world. And now you come full circle 100 years later, and those who uphold the law are honouring those who absolutely smashed it. So I think that's a just a couple of words about Barney Murphy, because I do want to use the opportunity to talk about him. He's mentioned in this book here, The Abbey Rebels of 1916. Because Barney Murphy, actually, I just wanted to say something about Vanessa Fielding. I met Vanessa. She's the director of this project and works for the complex, the Art Centre. I met Vanessa when I was a councillor, and we were trying to commemorate 1913. And Vanessa came in and out of meetings in the council to do with how we commemorate 1913. And actually that was where my grandfather became a rebel, was because he was a sheet metal worker in Hammond Lane Foundry, which was local. He was a shop steward there, and he led the men out in the lockout in 1913. He never got his job back after that, even though he was a skilled worker. He was blacklisted and couldn't return to his trade, and the Abbey Theatre took him on as a prompter. He was quite a cultured man. He liked theatre, he liked reading, he liked opera, and he ended up working there as a prompter. And there's just a few nice words about him in this book that's written about the connection between the Abbey Theatre and the Rising. Barney Murphy spent 3 weeks leading up to the Rising watching the barracks and taking messages to his commander Ned Daly and Tom Clark and things like that. He spent Good Friday moving rifles from his house to Liberty Hall. Barney's career demonstrates the importance of a network of overlapping sports, cultural and art organisations, invariably honeycombed by IRB activists in the cultivation of a militant sense of Irish identity and in the subsequent emergence of an armed revolutionary movement. Barney's radicalism may have been reinforced by his association with the Lawrence O'Toole Pipe Band and the Gaelic Club, when Edward Keegan persuaded his pals to form a club after Irish class had ended. It was one of the many such clubs to emerge during the wave of enthusiasm following the 1798 centenary and the Anglo-Boer War. So I just think that it's significant that that connection between art, militantism of working class people in 1913, the fact that he went on to work in the Abbey, the fact that art did play a big part, and the revival of Gaelic culture, language and art played a big part in, if you like, cementing the revolution and gelling it all together. And I think it's doing so again now with the contribution of Vanessa and her team. I think we should give them a big round of applause. The other thing I'd like to say about it is that, and you know, this is probably a little bit political on my part, but I think I deserve it. I went through 4 days of a weekend. Given that my grandfather's roots were involved in the lockout in 1913, the lockout started with the lockout of the tram workers. And it's very kind of poignant that tonight the Lewis drivers have voted by 99% to reject a pay deal that made to some people look like, oh, they're selfish workers, they were getting loads of money. Actually what was happening was they were being made to work 12 days a year more, and the starting pay for the newcomers was being dragged down to 2004 rates. So I think fair play to them for their expression of solidarity. Wherever this ends up, I think that's, you know, again, a connection between what happened 100 years ago and the militancy of today. But I just want to spend the last few minutes talking about you guys and your relatives and what happened in this area, because I didn't realise how significant the battle of the forecourts and the environments was till I started looking on the internet and reading stuff on it. And I would encourage everybody to look at YouTube and look at the websites. There is amazing stuff happening here locally by local residents, local committees. I recognised a few of them, guys I worked on the buses with years ago who are now my age and older, who are starting to do little YouTube clips about what happened in North King Street, how it spilled over into Constitution Hill, what happened in the forecourts itself. Very, very interesting engagement by very ordinary people in history and the intricacies of it and how it has led us to where we are. And what they all tell us is that under Ned Daly, all your relatives and mine played one of the most significant roles in 1916. Very significant, because strategically, when you think about it, and it's pointed out in these YouTube videos, the forecourts was on the path of the movement of troops from Houston Station, or Kingsbridge at the time, and from Broadstone, which was the gateway to the west of Ireland, to big barracks like Athlone and Athy and all the rest of it. So British troops were very much impeded from moving into the city for the 6 days that our relatives held this area. They held up probably, in terms of the operation of the British Army, they held them up probably more than anybody else outside of Mount Street. And all of the history books will tell you that this was the area of one of the most significant fights and one of the most strategic, if you like, parts that was played in the Rising at the time. And the fighting that ensued for about 7 days, you had about 70 rebels against 800 members of the South Staffordshire Regiment. And I always think this sounds like Robin Hood, the Sherwood Foresters were also in this area. Robin Hood's merry men weren't far away. So 70 rebels really held out against these, strategically probably helped to make the Rising as significant as it was, because they held back the movement of British troops. And so I want to finish by paying tribute to our relatives and to the local people in this area who have done a wonderful job of resurrecting the history and its significance. And, you know, I've thoroughly enjoyed reading up on it and watching it. I wish some of them were here tonight, and perhaps they are. We'll probably get to know each other afterwards. But just to say thank you very much to the Law Society, to Vanessa, and to history. It's done us proud. Sorry, I meant to say, for the first time doing that like this, the exhibition is now formally launched.
Thank you very much, everybody. That's those beautiful speeches. Thank you very much. To the bar.